I hate to break it to you all, but I have something to admit. I did not like the Mario movie. I loved it. What's up, guys? Welcome to an all-new series of mine called Gamebro Gaming Movie Review. It's going to be an upcoming YouTube short series on my channel, and this right here is the first episode. I chose to make this a full YouTube video because the movie literally just came out within like 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to use this video to explain how the meter will work. Before we dive into the film, I want to explain how the ranking system I use, which I call the Gamebro meter, works. Why? Because it's literally nothing like any other system that currently exists. So when I was making the meter, I decided to do something special instead of just throwing a random number out 1 through 100. So instead of doing that, I decided to make 10 different categories to rank 1 through 10. And after calculating the scores, adding them all together, it would lead to a percentage result. Just a disclaimer about the system, it is basically impossible to get a 100%, and it's basically impossible to get a 0. This might confuse people, so I'll compare this percentage to a realistic 1 out of 10 representation right after I say the percentage in the videos. So you might be wondering what categories I'm talking about ranking, so here they are. First, the story. Ranking the story is mostly based on how much the story satisfies me. So a 10 has no flaws and no complaints from me, and a 1 is so inconsistent to the point where it just pisses me off. Next up, the visuals. For this category, I tried to be nice with older films, so I'm mostly ranking lighting, practical, visual, and CGI effects, with sometimes the addition of quality of footage, if it really matters. So a 10 would be one of the best looking films there is, and a 1 would be one of the worst. The characters. For films that have characters, they would be ranked on both how well executed and planned out they are, and how good the acting is. A 10 would be characters that are insanely well executed, and are really unique, and are super lovable. And the 1 are characters so bad that you would be willing to pirate the film just to jump into After Effects to delete them. The score. Not the ranking score, the music score. A score is really important to a film, giving it life and realism in the world of sound. A 10 would be good enough to feel like ear magic, and a 1 would be bad enough for you to just want to cover your ears. Now to the genres being ranked. Comedy. A 10 would guarantee a hard laugh no matter the circumstance, and a 1 would just not be a comedy. The action. A 10 is some of the most insane and well executed action in a film, but not to the point where it's just dumb, and a 1 would just not be an action film. The horror. A 10 would be a really scary film, but not too scary where you're just not gonna have fun watching it. And a 1 would just not be a horror film. And to the finishing categories. The finale. A 10 would be the best way a film could have ended, and a 1 would feel like no thought went into it. And last but not least, and the only 100% opinion bias part of the system, the personal rank. A 10 would be one of my favorite films, and a 1 would be a film that I would just want to have burn in hell. And that's how the system works. Not all categories will be mentioned in a YouTube short, but I will mention the strengths and weaknesses of the film using these categories. I will no longer be changing this up because by now I have ranked a total of 90 films and TV shows. And if I were to change things up, I would have to re-rank all of them. So after all that waiting, let's get into what you clicked on this video for, Illumination's The Super Mario Bros. Movie. When I heard that Illumination was doing this film, I was not expecting Illumination to do a good job, because they have made some really weird films in the past, most notably Minions: The Rise of Gru, which I currently categorize on the meter as one of their worst films, like if you want to see that review. Also, the actor choices seemed a little odd, with the exception of Jack Black as Bowser, which I expected from the beginning to carry the film. My expectations got lower and lower with videos from MatPats such as this one, but once the first trailers popped up, I was thrilled. The film looked far better visually than I was expecting, and Jack Black as Bowser sounded great. And the score seemed really good too, taking the older themes from the older games. I had really high expectations of the film, and I expected it to rank about as good as movies such as Coco from Pixar, which ranks really well. But when I finally watched it, my mind was blown. The film beat my really high expectations, and it is easily my favorite Illumination film. At first, I was skeptical about Illumination making this project, but now I really don't see anyone else doing it. The one thing at first that I thought could kill this film was Chris Pratt's voice acting, but I got used to it surprisingly quick, and it really wasn't that bad. So now I'm going to dive deeper into the film, so spoiler warning. Click off or skip to here if you don't want spoilers. Some of the things that looked great about this film from the trailers turned out to be better than I thought in the film. It took me only a minute into the film to decide I loved the score, but I also love the choice of 80s songs in the mix. Not just because I love 80s songs, but it mixes things up and also makes sense because the original game came out during that era. Those choices of 80s songs also gives me vibes from Guardians of the Galaxy, another film by Chris Pratt. Speaking of another one of his films, although during the trailer I was given Lego movie vibes, I didn't really get that in the actual film, which didn't matter much. Now, let's direct our attention to Jack Black as Bowser. Like I expected, he carried the film, but I wasn't expecting him to do this good. I'd even categorize this as one of his best performances of his career, which shocked me. He did great acting evil, he did even better in his goofy romantic scenes, and he sang the Peaches song, which definitely slaps. I do want to address my least favorite role, not being Mario, but Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Don't get me wrong, he did a great job, but some of his lines were kind of cringy and I wasn't a big fan. Some more things I wasn't a fan of was the pacing of the film. The story just feels really fast-paced. Sure, it's only an hour and a half long, and that's kind of expected, but I felt upset about this detail. Despite that thought, I do feel like there was some scenes that felt pretty pointless. For one, the dog scene. The only thing that the dog scene does is add more time in New York, but the stupidest thing, the dog was pulled straight from Secret Life of Pets. What makes this even dumber is the fact that the film also takes place in New York, just like that film, which also has a Mario reference. So I was definitely expecting that dog to just start talking out of nowhere. The scene isn't referenced at all afterwards, except during the finale where all that happens is you just seeing the dog. That's it. This scene could have been cut out, and maybe that call Luigi answers could have been a prank call with a Rickroll, increasing the selection of 80s songs and making the story less fast-paced. While that scene is pointless, there is another that is even more. The Baby Mario scene after Luigi is captured is really dumb because it's just one big continuity error. Because why would the Mario brothers be wearing plumber clothes at that age? And it's even referenced that the clothes is a new choice of theirs right after the dog scene. Plus, it's already established that Mario's goal is to help Luigi. So the scene does nothing other than make the Baby Mario reference. Despite me talking so much about the film's flaws, it's still an outstanding film. So after all of that, I made the decision to give this film an 80% score. Which, to give you an idea on my scale, is about a 10 out of 10. Placing this at 10th place of 90 films, ranking around things like Joker and Breaking Bad Season 3. Personally, I don't even know the Mario series that well, but I still caught most of the references and really enjoyed watching this. I have a thought that there is a 90% chance that anyone who ranks this film low has not played the games or just isn't familiar with the series. So, if you have played the games, this is a must-watch film. So that's the end of this review. Thanks for watching, and any other reviews will be in the form of YouTube Shorts and a lot less in depth. The only times I will do full video reviews is if I'm reviewing a complete series or TV show, or something that just came out within a month of the upload and that could probably get more clicks. So, like the Mario movie. Also, for the first selection of YouTube short reviews, I expect to do the 30 shorts in 30 days, which I've noticed is a strategy with smaller content creators, and I just wanted to try it out. So, thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Bye!